the idea of people bootlegging vaporwave tapes and selling them for a profit. That's insane.
Well,
That's
actually,
that's crazy. I
yeah.
mean, I'm not even talking in a moral sense. I'm saying in this anachronistic sense. It's the, I guess, essentially, you know, by definition, it's sort of a crime, I guess, to do that because it's not your music. But it's like this crime that didn't exist for 2 decades. and now it's come back.
Now,
It's weird.
now that you well, I actually, yeah. I mean, it's like a bootleg of a bootleg. You know, I mean, it's so ridiculous. You know, I mean, we've gone from entering the matrix to entering the matrix within the matrix. You know, it's
It's
ridiculous.
true. It's true. It is sort of like the Matrix, isn't it? I mean, like they made a perfect one and they made a high tech perfect one, and no one could live
Yeah,
in it, so
yeah,
they had to make it
yeah.
real. It's like
Yeah,
this. You have
we
to.
have we have the virtual plaza, and then they made the virtual plaza inside the virtual plaza. You know, I mean, it's like 2 layers of reality. You know, virtual or simulated reality.
Yeah, it's
But
Inception style. It's crazy.
and it's basically by the whole neighborhood, right? And I used to call the neighbors and everyone. I used to call them aunts and uncles, right? Now they're not my uncles, right? They have nothing in common with my parents, right? No relation at all. But
Right.
I was taught as a kid to call them uncles and aunts, right? And I used to, my mother used to like leave them to go. If I told my mom, can I go and stay at their house for 2 days? She would say yes, you know. And I would go there, and then they would like teach me things about life as if I was their kid. And same thing happens with their kids. They call my dad like their uncle, but he's not, you know. I mean, so I just take some inspiration from that, right? And I would go a step further and propose, how about we just call them dad and mom, you know? What would happen then, you know? I'm talking about a small society, right? A small society, a rural society, you know, something like this, which can happen practically in Greece at least. So I was thinking about that, you know, just like a thought. I don't know. Personally, I'm kind of an anarchist. I mean, you could say that philosophically, I'm an anarchist. So I don't get it either. I mean, I think that people can be, they do have the capability to be taught to manage things more collectively rather than expect a leader. We're being taught to expect leaders, you know, and to expect leaders to lead us. You know, we're just being taught, you know, and kind of like trained into it, right? I mean, there's definitely some biological aspect to it, right? It's not like I'm not like those people who just think that it's just like ridiculous and all. But at the same time, I think it's going to be rendered obsolete as the time goes by. Maybe in the next centuries, we will have favored such a less hierarchical societies. I
At
think.
one point, write Christian songs
Why don't we create a new subgenre of synthwave? And that's called Christian synthwave. You know.
because it probably exists. Like Christian versions of music is just like porn. It all there's always a version
Yeah.
already of it out. There is.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I was
But
like 12, I heard Christian black metal for
oh
the
my
first time,
God,
and that
is
was
there such
insane.
a
Yeah,
thing?
and that
Is
was
there such...
yes. I'm telling you, go on a rabbit hole journey through Google one day and and
Oh,
hear all the subgenres of Christian music there is. Man, there's all kinds. There's even Christian acid house type stuff. It's insane.
I know there's Christian trance, and I'm
Oh,
like,
sure.
what is that? You know, why? And but you know, the funny thing is that you can be anything. Let's say that you I don't know, you make deep house or whatever, and then you just you just drop a line or two from the Pope, and suddenly it's Christian deep house, and there you go,
Or
a new
what about
subgenre.
Christian?
And I'm a Christian, so there you go.
What about Christian big room EDM? That would be amazing. He died for you.
That's the best thing I've ever heard in my life. That's the best thing I've heard in my life. Seriously.
That would be
Like,
amazing. I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
buy
yeah.
it, but I would download it. I
I
wouldn't
would
buy it.
buy it. Fuck this, I would buy it.
I would
I
support
would,
the artist.
I would support it. This is so.
This is what people don't know about running labels. When you write music and you have the bright idea of running your own label and you want to do it successfully, the label running part of it takes so much of your time, there's hardly any time left to make music.
Yeah, that's completely correct. That's
Yeah.
my release is coming up. It'll be out next month or in 2020. One of those
Yeah.
two.
Yeah. Yeah. Next month is like at
Yeah,
least
but
six
it's
months
when the
away.
established channels, the
True.
voices of, or the so-called voices of reasoning, the 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 mainstream media, when they buy into that and tend to give it some form of validation indirectly or directly or on purpose or whatever you call it, that's when things really get crazy, and that's when things really get scary.
Yeah, that happened during, I believe, during the Bush administration. That
Yeah.
start the beginning of the end of that started when media, when people in the media were able to be chosen. They were, and if they didn't like what you had to say, you moved to the back. That
Yeah.
started to happen right around that
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And that's just
I
crazy.
remember that. Yeah.
There's no, yeah, there's no, well, who do I listen to and who do I believe?
Yeah,
There's no
it's.
common consensus anymore.
I also think music is going to go backwards. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's going forwards and backwards at the same time.
Right.
I think in the business it's going backwards. I think we're going to the days of Tin Pan Alley, where
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. I really do.
yeah.
I think we're all lined up in these apartment buildings and just pounding out on a piano some tunes and trying to sell it to Alpo and to see what
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
I think that's where it's all going, and I think that threatens some people. I think it does, but I don't think it threatens anyone who's not afraid of high volume. Who's like, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, and I just think that it's not good or bad. It's just the way things are. I think there was one point in time in music industry where you didn't have to do that. It was about this development. Development was king. It was about
Yeah.
looking for
Yeah.
people and the developing and shaping them into somebody and
Yeah.
getting them here, getting them a coach, getting them a producer, getting them this, and really getting your investment returned on this person. And I think that's still, if you're Adele, that's still going on, sure.
Yeah.
But I think that it's up to the small labels to do that now. That's what's going to have to happen. You gotta
Ooh,
go back.
what year is this? 95, 94, 95. School of Hip Hop in here in the United Kingdom. And my artist name back then is or was or is Dark Joan. And I still keep that around because I still got a lot of material that still yet to come out, which would come out in the not so distant future when I could find time to do it. But anyway, it was quite an interesting time because we were fighting so many things in terms of the industry or the scene, should I say, called UK hip hop. We were going through a trying time in the mid 90s where hip hop made in the United Kingdom by local United Kingdom acts or British acts, if you want to call it, rapping with a British accent and a British tongue wasn't accepted because the local populace doesn't sound right. You know, they're not used to hearing rap in a British accent. So the labels that were signing art acts back then who were rapping wouldn't touch you with a badge pole if you sounded local. You have to sound like the big American act of the day to be accepted by the labels who will then take you on and sell you on. But we were the generation who were like, nah, that's not us. We like what was coming from America. We appreciate it for what it is. But the whole aesthetics of hip hop for us was for us to tell our story through our own tongue, through our own experiences, and export that.
Which is more
You
hip
know?
hop. That's
Yes,
more, that's the actual spirit of hip hop.
yes,
And
yes, yes. And we fought against the you have to be like somebody from New York or LA or wherever to be accepted. We just weren't having it. So it created this subgenre within a subgenre where we then become the sound of a generation that wasn't accepted by the mainstream or wasn't accepted by the hip hop scene in general. So it was a thing where like we became our own thing. Now there were other sort of like subgenres within that scene where you've heard of two-step garage, for instance.
mhm.
And the UK two-step garage lot were rapping, but they were rapping it over a house beat, for instance, or UK two-step beat. So it becomes fragmented. So you got the ones that were rapping on slower, normal hip hop beats, as you know, from New York style hip hop, and you've got the ones that were doing this, this rapping over this two steps garagey kind of beat. And then that fragmented, and then later on, it became what the world now known as grime.
Right.
But it went through that period of the late 90s, early 2000s. It went through that painful transitionary period. And now, with the grime sound, the UK populace now accept rappers rapping in our
I
own tongue.
released Night and Day, and these are concept albums of like being up all night and staying up all day working on music. And it's like this was probably wrote all this stuff in like mid-February to early March stuff. So, and there's like a lot more that I even wrote to it, and it's like I compiled them into albums and sent them to like labels that were like wanting like a record from me. So these are all just kind of like the ones that I was just kind of like iffy on, but it's like, well, I mean, I'm setting on these, might as well like let's release them and put it in a concept album of Night and Day, where it's more like darker tones for night, and day would be like lighter tones, obviously. Not really much of a concept, I understand, but they're also like songs that I was going to scrap, you know?
No, it's very Vivaldi thing of you to do.
Yeah.
He's doing like the 4 seasons. You're doing the circadian seasons, I guess you could say.
Yes, like that vapor trap. It was more lines of like I was making hip hop beats first, and then I got into vaporwave, and then I started just experimenting with like I used to make a lot of psychedelic music. Like that's all I made for a long time. So I took all these elements and just that's what PZA is an element of like vapor trap and like psychedelia. Overall was what I've named as pizza wave because I don't know why not. The Gospels, what?
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, no, and how all that's been edited out. Like, yeah, I mean, it's been such a calculated thing to just edit out the Gnostic texts of all these religions, and so they all have their roots and stuff that I think is inherently somewhat accurate. I think the idea that life is a bit of some kind of a morality test in the way that you treat others, the karma and the impact it like affects, your ability to kind of ascend higher and get out of this shithole that is our reality. I definitely think there's, and in my own experiences, I've seen that there's some legitimacy to that, but it's just when you're not experiencing it directly, and then it gets, and not only that, the Bible is really non-specific too, and it can be interpreted in a lot of ways, and so yeah, it's a very destructive force in our society.
Yeah, if I would have watched it, just like Bret Michaels' Rock of Love.
I love Bret Michaels' Rock of Love. I will be honest with you right now. I watch that every so often. I will watch the complete run of that seasons.
I've seen it too, unfortunately. That's like I don't really watch reality shows either, but that is like one for some reason. Actually, my wife like never watched that stuff. She didn't have cable for years when we first moved in together. Like, so she didn't know how bad reality TV was. Like, and I don't really watch much, but yeah, that Rock and Love, that was the show that I like demonstrated to my wife. Like, oh, if you want to see how horrible this has gotten, like here, look at this. You've never even seen anything like this. It's so bad. Yeah, no, that show was, man. Ugh.
But
it was a train wreck.
Like, it was so bad. It's like what we're still talking about it because it was that bad. It's like
it was amazing. It was so bad. It was amazing. That's what
exactly.
Well, okay, I only watched the first season, and what was so apropos was at the end. It was like, do you want the one girl who's a little bit older, who's like closer to your age and was like a huge fan of your music, or do you want the chick who's younger and who's never even listened to your music and is just on the reality show because she wants to be famous? And he chose the younger girl who had never heard his music. That's
wrong. The answer was all of them. That was, that was the whole point of the show. That was the point of the whole show. Was it should have been called Bret Michaels' Rod of Love. And it was all should have been about a exploits.
Well, it's strangely
absolutely, and he got dirty. He got dirty.
Yeah, no, he slept with like all those girls. It was really trashy.
I'm Bret Michaels. I played.
If you're surrounded with that much just nudity and sexual openness, and you are able to have sex who are all thirsty for money, right? They're thirsty for fame.
They just
This is
want to
what
be
they're
famous.
here for. This is business acquisitions here. And if you're surrounded with that and you keep having sex, what is it? 1 day, 2 days before you start getting deviant. you start getting crazy. You start making shit up, and and that's what I think that show was all about.
The show was
Just like,
I mean,
he
honestly,
started having sex again.
Jersey Shore or Rock of Love?
What's that?
Jersey Shore or Rock of Love?
Oh God! I've only seen like one episode of Jersey Shore in my life, but I don't know. I don't know which one's creepier. In all honesty, I think maybe Rock of Love was a little bit creepier because it was women just prostituting themselves for the chance to be famous. Whereas I think with Jersey Shore, it was like I mean they were like these people would be hooking up whether they were on TV or not. It
was just that was kind of like I don't know, like a college town or some shit.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of shit that goes on in any college town. Whereas Rock of Love had this level of skis, like I'm a woman who wants to be famous and a reality star, so who do you want me to fuck? Okay, you want me to fuck this guy? And that's the thing. The first thing that I saw, the chick that won she had never heard of the band Poison. Like she didn't even know who the guy was. That she was like, oh, I gotta fuck someone to be famous, and that's the one he chose over the girl that was like a huge fan of his and had been a fan like since back in 20 years.
There was a sweet little innocence to that show, I think, is what it was. There was sincerity to it. It was like the handshake was transparent. You can see the deal between the viewer and the cast. It was one of those things. It was very honest, and it was sweet. You were just like, oh, I get it. You want to be in a porn, and you're poor. I understand. Well, get up there. You go get yours. Like it started being like that. It was sweet.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was like, it's not like that's anything that doesn't happen in, LA on a daily basis. So, I mean, let's face it. It was just putting it on TV,
Exactly.
Or back another, like, rock of love.
There was a rock of porn. I guarantee there's like a porn movie that's like a parody of that show. I would be willing to bet money on it.
They had the Daisy of Love.
Yeah, I remember version. The Daisy. Yeah. That was the one. That was okay. I remember that.
She completely sucked at music. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
She walked around like she was like this Mozart or something, and she.
Who was Daisy? I don't even know who we're talking about.
She was a contestant on Rock of Love. I think.
Gotcha. Okay.
She got her own spin-off show after she lost.
It was of course the male version, so they had to have like a cage fight. They had all kinds of shit like that in it, and push-up contest.
I love how the one philosophy and like all going back to like the real world when that started, the one philosophy behind all of it is like get everyone drunk, like get people in a room and just then feed them booze, like and that's the way it is. Like you read these people and like that Rock Love was pretty open about that too. It's like in first activity, shots, It's like
yeah, I loved seeing them drunk. That was hilarious. One of them, I remember one. And I promise this will be the last Rock of Love anecdote I'll share. But one was this chick who, like, started talking evil. Like, she got so drunk, and they had to, like, I think they had threatened to throw her off the show. Yeah, and she was just like, damn, I don't promise me a good time. It was really real. It was real. And it got creepy because it got real. And you're like, oh, God, I know one of those people. They're talking that talk. I have a trauma associated with that. So, okay, let's diverge the course of old VH1 reality series. That was a golden age.
Classic.
So yeah.
So this book that you have now is essentially an archive of.
It is. It's kind of like a year in the psychic life. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. And I threw some other things in there. It's not just that, and also there's commentary on each of these things because it's me looking back on this stuff from the past. So if you went on Facebook, you wouldn't get the entirety of what was. You could go scroll through my feed and read a lot of this stuff if you wanted. And there's a bunch of articles that I wrote on Disinfo during the time. And part of the reason I did that is you can see the relationship between what's going on in my psychic life and what led me to write this articles. I mean, it's really a channeled book in reality. And some of the, so it's a part of way of saying some of the stuff that I wrote for Disinfo, it's like this was really like an idea that was channeled to me. And here you can kind of see, here's where I would channel the idea. This is what I was told by these forums that led me to write this piece. And there's also me talking about the psi phenomenon, because if you just read it, I mean, obviously on Facebook, when it was posted, I didn't know what was going to happen a year from when I posted it. So I didn't realize that it was like, hey, this predicted the future, and me kind of explaining that aspect of itself. But yeah, it's sort of like a year in the life, psychic life portrait right after the supposed 2012 shift. I started documenting this knowledge and conversation with my holy guardian angel, and that's what the book is. And yeah, no, very, very amusing and awesome dreams. A lot of stuff about, I think, if I was going to talk about spirit world communication, I mean, it commutes in a metaphorical language in your dreams a lot of the time, and that's the other thing to appeal to a rationalist. I mean, I've experimented with these kind of techniques that are generally considered occult, although I definitely been increasingly trying to distance myself from that to a way, especially from magic, because it's just such a bad vibes type of thing. Yeah, so. If you read this book and the question would be like, if you're, say, a skeptical or materialist, there's a couple questions. One would be, how did he predict the future doing this? And also, it's hard to say that these dreams that I'm having are just, there's the scientific materialist interpretation of dreams, which they're just recountings of your daily life. And if you read my book and you think that, then, I mean, there's nothing I can do for you. Like, if you read this, like, some of this stuff is really fucking weird. It's like, it's hard to say, oh, that's just random recountings of your day. One, when it's picking up on things that happen in the future, and two, when it's just as fucking weird as it is. I mean, I think the book's pretty entertaining. Like, it's a lot more maybe entertaining than I think it's almost art in anything else, and that these dreams I'm having are so strange and honestly humorous in a way. Like, there's a sense of humor to a lot of it that I think is pretty fascinating. When I was a kid, like, any movie by Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, or
Smashed it.
I had to see every single one of them. Like, every one of those guys, any one of those dudes came out with a movie, I had to see all of those movies. Like, when I was growing up as a kid.
This shit will turn you into a sexual Tyrannosaurus Rex. I love those old movies, man. What are you talking about? Those are amazing. Those are amazing.
Yeah, no, it was, and like all my friends did too. It was like when we were growing up, it's like everybody saw all of those movies. It wasn't like just me. It was like, man, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, like, I loved Schwarzenegger as a kid.
Jesse Ventura.
Oh yeah, Jesse Ventura, Predator.
So do you guys? Every so often, then I get really upset and I clear out the living room and I play Pantera's Walk.
Cowboys.
I dab for about 5 minutes and I'm good. I'm really good after that.
Yeah, no,
That's really shit I've heard all day.
the thing is, I love metal. Like, and that's like, I love metal. Like, I wouldn't have been playing this